Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today we are going to discuss about biological and synthetic materials. Let's see the difference between what are biological materials, what are synthetic materials. Biological, we know that natural materials by itself is a life or a natural things, whereas synthetic is something man-made, right? So that we know, the difference we know already. So biomaterials are classified into two main groups, namely synthetic and as well as natural biomaterials. So synthetic biomaterials can be classified as metals, ceramics and non-degradable polymers and as well as degradable polymers. So we discussed in the previous topic that the classification of the biomaterials, metals, ceramics and polymers. And we also discussed there synthetic natural polymers and synthetic polymers. Whereas when it comes to the synthetic natural polymers, it is biodegradable in nature. Whereas when it comes to the synthetic polymers, we are having biodegradable polymers and as well as non-biodegradable polymers also. So the disadvantage of the synthetic materials, such as we are having some of the disadvantages of synthetic materials. So such as differences in the structures and the composition, whereas bio materials will have the common materials. We know that, for example, cellulose means cellulose. Cellulose has got its particular property, but when it comes to the synthetic materials, it will vary how it is being made and what temperature it is being used, what are the composition. All this varies. That's why they vary. They have differences in the structures and the composition and other properties. And we need to study all the properties before we use something inside our human body. That's what. So that's the major disadvantage of the synthetic biomaterials, such as differences in the structures, compositions, biocompatibility, and as well as low ability to induce tissue remodeling. So these all are overcome by the natural biomaterials. Definitely, these are all the drawbacks of the synthetic materials or synthetic biomaterials can be overcome by the natural biomaterials. So thus, naturally derived biomaterials are a topic of interest. So all over the world. So naturally derived biomaterials, what are those? We can classify into the hyaluronic acid, chitin, we are having the cellulose, silk, cytosine, we are having gelatin and as well as fibrin. Still many more are there, but these are the things which are widely used. So they are usually used to replace or restore structure and as well as the function of the damaged tissue or organs. As for example, that can be used to, this is a common definition of this tissue engineering, like used to replace and restore the structure and the function of damaged tissues or organs. This is the definition of tissue engineering. So the same thing can be used for your this function also. This sentence can be used for all the implantable materials. So as drug delivery systems, the natural polymers or natural biomaterials plays a very important role, and as well as medical devices such as surgical scissors and all, we can use the natural biopolymers or maybe the coating or something like that. So examples, we have a table here, both biopolymers and synthetic polymers. So biopolymers, on the other one hand, so we are having biopolymers are formed naturally in the environment inside the living organism. Either it is from the bacteria or from the plants or maybe from the humans itself. Next, we are having the synthetic polymers. These are artificially made by the polymer compounds. In the laboratory, we are doing this particular thing, or you can simply say that man-made things. Next, generally degradable biopolymers. Usually, all of them are degradable in nature, including the hardest structure like bones are also degradable. So in biopolymers. Whereas when you are talking about synthetic polymers, we are having generally a non-degradable in nature. Okay, and monodispersity, all biopolymers of a type are alike. For example, cellulose means cellulose, all the structures are alike. Okay, and when it comes to the particular DNA, RNA, they have got their unique properties, but that's why it is called as monodispersity. Whereas when it comes to the synthetic polymers, it's polydispersity. That means they show more random characteristics and they are not so unique. So complex, when it comes to the next point is we are having biopolymers are complex in nature and it's very hard to understand at the atomic and molecular scale. They play because it's very complex in nature. Whereas if normal polymers, what we do is they are generally simple structures. They are just an addition of their different monomers. Okay, so next we are having the renewable resources as they are obtained from the living organisms like plants. Biopolymers, obviously, they are renewable resources as they are obtained from the living organism like plants. Definitely renewable resources because we are not creating something waste out of it when you are preparing it. When we are preparing something and if waste is creating, then it doesn't come under renewable. That will come under non-renewable. So here we are not creating any waste, nothing. It's already there in plant. We are just extracting it and using it as a biopolymers. So next here, it's a non-renewable as a traditional source of the synthetic polymers is petroleum. So what we use a lot of things for to create polymer. So there is a lot of waste. So it's not renewable. And here biopolymers is non-toxic, whereas synthetic polymers are toxic. We cannot see, even though if you have a cellulose or a DNA or something like that, or if you swallow it or something like that, you can survive. It's not going to affect you so much. But imagine you eating polymer. It's highly toxic. So that's how we can categorize polymers, biopolymers and synthetic polymers. So next topic we are having the biopolymers that we will discuss in the next class.